The United States has now lost 750,000 Americans to COVID-19, another tragic milestone in the pandemic. Today, the Biden administration spelled out how it will require private businesses to ensure that employees get vaccinated against COVID-19 or submit to regular testing. The rule, which would go into effect January 4th, impacts some 84 million private sector workers. Amna Nawaz has the details.
Judy, that rule comes from the Department of Labor's Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, and applies to private businesses with 100 or more employees. It mandates that workers who don't get fully vaccinated get tested weekly. And by that same January 4th deadline, 17 million healthcare workers in facilities that receive Medicare or Medicaid funding must get vaccinated. Marty Walsh is the Secretary of Labor, and he joins me now. Secretary Walsh, welcome back to the NewsHour. Thank you for making the time. So you're not requiring vaccines for those 84 million private sector employees. They can choose to get tested weekly. If we know shots work, we know that they slow the spread of the virus, they save lives, why not just require them?
Because what we want to do here is get as many people vaccinated as possible, and we have the option for testing there as well, and testing and also masks. So we looked at, we didn't do a mandate. It wasn't a mandate. The emergency temporary standard, at least it recognizes people in different situations, and hopefully we'll be able to address all the different situations people might have.
But you did require them for those healthcare workers, right? There's 17 million who work in those facilities. Why a requirement there?
Because that's a whole different case when we're talking about people working around other people with illnesses, and there was a different set of rules there.
And so what if those employees who are required, who don't have the option to just get tested, what if they refuse to get vaccinated?
What, in the first ETS?
No, in the second, specifically with the healthcare workers, for people who are required to get vaccinated by that January 4th deadline. If they refuse, what then?
Employers will be able to take the action that they think is right, and also they're working with OSHA right now, and they've done it. They've had a 50-year history of making these rules work.
So let me ask you about what we've seen so far from private companies, because some have taken up their own vaccine mandates, right? United Airlines is one we often cite as an example. They've had high compliance, but others have not. Walmart, for example, one of the nation's largest employers. I'm curious why you think they have not put into place stricter regulations when it comes to requiring employees to get vaccinated.
I think a lot of people have concerns about how do we move forward here. This is kind of uncharted territory in the last 2 years with the coronavirus, and there's been different waves of virus increases, and the Delta variant was another one. So I think a lot of employers didn't exactly know how to proceed, and part of today with the emergency temporary standard, I think it'll give some employers a roadmap on the best way moving forward. You mentioned United Airlines, and other companies have put in mandates. This is not a mandate, but they put in mandates, and they're seeing like 85–90% compliance. So what we're hoping here is that we'll see a high compliance rate in companies that might not have any type of vaccine program. This will allow them the opportunity to institute it, and then we want to. The bottom line here is creating a safe work environment for workers to go to work.
Mr. Secretary, what about penalties? If companies aren't able to comply, meet that January 4th deadline, financial penalties, how do you actually enforce that?
Yeah, OSHA has a 50-year history of doing these, of compliance and working with temporary standards as we move forward here. So I'm confident that in the OSHA process, and we'll be working with employers as we move forward here, educating them on what will be their responsibility.
But to clarify, there could be financial penalties ahead for companies who don't comply, correct?
Yeah, yes, there could be, yes.
You mentioned those lawsuits. We know Republican attorneys general in a number of states are already ramping up to sue the federal government. They've called this overreach into the private sector. They call it unconstitutional. They say it's an imposition on personal choice. Are you confident that these rules will stand up in court?
Yeah, we are confident. It was a well-written rule and put together. A lot of thought went into it. And again, I think that that some of the companies around the country have already begun something like this, and has put, in some cases, was a mandate. We were very thoughtful when we put this together that we're encouraging people to be vaccinated, and businesses obviously to encourage people to be vaccinated. But there are other options in there, such as testing and masks.
What about states where the governor is explicitly directing their state Department of Labor not to comply? Indiana, for example. Are you telling those labor offices there to defy their governor?
We're not telling them to defy their governor. This law supersedes their rules in those states.
And what's your message to employers in some of those states where the leadership may not support these rules and regulations? How can you support them if they're trying to put these rules and regulations in place?
I've done a few interviews today, and everyone keeps focusing on the other side, that employers that don't want to put these cases in and employers that don't want to run these. I actually feel that there are more employers in this country that want these rules and want to institute these rules, and now we have the ability to do that. And I think that there are more people in this country that are supportive of vaccines and supportive of testing than not. And I think that, as we move forward here, I'm going to stay positive on this and just continue to work with businesses and work with individuals and encourage people to get vaccinated until we're on the other side of this virus.
It's the Secretary of Labor, Marty Walsh, joining us tonight. Secretary Walsh, thank you so much for your time. Good to have you.
Thank you.